You're listening to the Paul Young Podcast.
Hey everybody, it's Poetry Day. So if you don't particularly like poetry, you can just skip over this one. But I like poetry. I like poetry. I like lyrics to songs. It's just remarkable to me that poets can say things that are beyond words in just a few words. Capture something that is amazing and touching and heartrending and help us to see things from a little different point of view. Musicians do that. Poets do that. Screenwriters can do that. There can be just these little parts that touch us so deeply. I have a little poem in the shack. I told you that we were working on the libretto for the stage musical production. A musician took those words, added music to it, and made them so much more beautiful. They really brought the lyrics to the forefront by putting music to it. We're so grateful for those who bring their creativity to the world in these sorts of ways. And so poetry is important to me. Poetry has a way of, as C.S. Lewis said, poetry and fiction and things like that have a power to sneak past our watchful dragons. So anyway, I'm going to read you some poems. There's sort of a theme to the poetry, to some degree. You'll probably pick that up. This one is by Steve Garnaas-Holmes. The title of it is How You Loved Me. That without a word, you sat with me in grief, me wounded and alone, robbed beyond grasping, you silent and present beyond grasping. This was love. That you did not save me, but accompanied me. That when I fell apart, confident in the whole, you did not try to glue back the pieces. That you did not protect me from my pain. My heart's crucial needing did not root around in the ashes looking for blame. That you resisted the temptation of explanation, the ruse of a plan, some clever dramatic devices, as if the click of some little metal piece into place could dismiss what was happening in my heart. That you set me no timetable, that you planted no fence beyond the strong horse of my anguish, that you withheld your dexterous know-how, so readily shouldered the weight, accepted the nails of powerlessness, dared the nothingness empty-handed, that you were still there as the petals fell, patient for the rolling away of the stone. This is how you loved me, helpless, raw, and given. This is how you love me still, since love that has passed through death will never die again. I love that. So oftentimes when those we care for, we love, are in the middle of loss and grief, we just want to fix it, right? We just want to rush in and find a solution that will make the one we love feel better. But there's a great mystery to suffering. I was having a conversation with my friend Scott, and I was trying to ask the question about why is it that artists are able to find language of the soul, of the heart, so readily? Why? Why do they have that particular gift? And Scott said to me, it's because they've suffered more. And as soon as he said it, I knew he was right. That great loss and great suffering creates great art, great beauty, great wonder. And people in a few words can find language that is beyond words. You know, like Elie Wiesel in his book Night. He and some men, and I don't remember the concentration camp, maybe Auschwitz, they were walking along the fence line, and there were, I think, 3 young men who had been crucified up on the fence. And as they walked away, there became a conversation about where was God? Where was God in the light of this kind of suffering? Where is God in the light of the suffering of the world? And Eli said to them, didn't you see? Didn't you notice? God was hanging on the fence. That was God. see something about that gets past our watchful dragons. This one is called Capacity, and it's by our friend David Tensen in Australia. There will be times you will hold life's troubles like a bowl, able to contain all its worries and its woes. There'll be times when enough takes the shape of a cup that is full to the brim and you cannot lift it up. There'll be times you will face life's troubles like a plate, so stretched you can't balance each and every weight. Whatever you can carry, know that it can vary. Some days you just can't hold things deemed necessary. In these times, raise your hand, ask for help, say a prayer. Make no room for guilt or shame. No two containers are the same. That makes me think of people in my life. It makes me think of myself and how hard it is sometimes for me to ask for help. It's as if I need to, for whatever reason, be stronger than the weight that I am carrying. And in order to do that, I have to do it alone so that I can maybe talk about it later. Maybe I can prove that I was able to handle it myself, even though trying to do that actually disempowered me, actually isolated me. I have a friend in Romania. He said, he'd come from an atheistic point of view, and he's now entered into a community. He calls them, they're your people, Paul. Those are your people. I'm around your people, which by that he means evangelical Christians, Western, who tend to believe, that God is still very harsh, very difficult, very angry, and that they're trying to find a way to appease God. Anyway, he was saying, you know what I found interesting? He said, part of the time I'm an atheist in my life, especially when I encounter real suffering. And part of the time I'm like all in. But the people that I'm with, your people, he says, they only talk about things in the past or in the future. They don't seem to know how to talk about what's going on in their lives in the now. And I think about that and I thought, boy, that is so like me. I find it difficult to talk about the things that are in my life right now. I would rather talk about it in the past as an accomplishment or in the future as something to be tackled and endured and won. But to open up my heart in the now, not so much. And I need to be better about that. I think this one's a David Tensen poem. I misplaced the author of it, the writer of it, but I think it's a David Tensen. And he has a friend who has a severely disabled daughter who is in the hospital very often. And he wrote this with him and others like him in mind. It's called A Blessing for the Hospital Bedside. I bless the bed you sit beside, the wards you walk through, and the deep sighs you hold and release when it's all too much. I bless the hand you hold, the hope you befriend, and the short naps you take in chairs and surrender when it's all too much. I bless the care you convey, the patience you practice, and the boundaries of love you stretch beyond yourself when it's all too much. When it's all too much, enduring love finds its home in you, makes its way through you, and fills the world with a priceless primal force that grounds and connects us all. Compassion. Nobody has to say anything in light of that poem. You just know. And many of us have been in the place where it's just all too much sometimes. The last one I'm going to read is called Miracles by Walt Whitman. He was sometimes referred to as the Bard of Democracy and one of America's most influential poets. He was born in 1819, so that gives you a little bit of frame of reference. This poem is called Miracles. Why, who makes much of a miracle? As to me, I know of nothing else but miracles. Whether I walk the streets of Manhattan or dart my sight over the roofs of houses toward the sky, or wade with naked feet along the beach just in the edge of the water, or stand under trees in the woods, or talk by day with anyone I love, or sleep in bed at night with anyone I love, or sit at table at dinner with the rest, or look at strangers opposite me riding in the car, or watch honeybees busy around the hive of a summer forenoon, or animals feeding in the fields, or birds, or the wonderfulness of insects in the air, or the wonderfulness of the sundown, or of stars shining so quiet and bright, or the exquisite, delicate, thin curve of the new moon in spring. These, with the rest, one and all, are to me miracles, the whole referring, yet each distinct and in its place. To me, every hour of the light and dark is a miracle. Every cubic inch of space is a miracle. Every square yard of the surface of the earth is spread with the same. Every foot of the interior swarms with the same. To me, the sea is a continual miracle. The fishes that swim, the rocks, the motion of the waves, the ships with men in them. What stranger miracles are there? And I trust your day unfold with your ability to see the miracles that surround us, the miracles that embrace us, the miracles that are right in front of us. Thank you for listening. If you would like to contact or connect with us with inquiries and questions, comments, suggestions, stories, and more, please visit paulyoungpodcast.com. There you will find resources and notes related to any particular episode. Today, participate with love, do the next right thing, and trust the ripples.